You're watching WLOX News This Week. Here's David Elliott.
And welcome back, everybody. We turn now to the race for Lieutenant Governor, big election year. Joining us, State Senator Chris McDaniel, who just announced this week he's running against incumbent Delbert Hosemann in the Republican primary. Senator, thanks for being with us on the Mississippi coast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, you're obviously running to the right of Lieutenant Governor Hosemann, accusing him of not being conservative enough.
Right.
Give us a quick kind of characterization about what you mean by that.
I would rephrase it, not conservative at all, at all. We only have 16 Democrats in the state Senate, but he's managed to appoint 13 of those 16 to positions of authority, chairmanships. Unacceptable. He's pushing for Medicaid expansion. He's defeated our term limits legislation bill. He was the one guy that stood in the way of eliminating the income tax for all Mississippians. Governor Reeves wanted it gone. The House wanted it gone. Philip Gunn wanted it gone. He's the only one that stopped it. Every conservative reform we've tried to pass in the Senate, he single-handedly has stood there and he's defeated that, while the Republicans in the House and the Senate are being frustrated by his leadership.
But you know, the one thing about that as a strategy is most polling indicates that most people want the two parties to work together to accomplish goals in a kind of a nonpartisan way.
Well, it begs the question, which goals are we attempting to accomplish? Because in the last 40 years, every time conservatives reached across the aisle, we lost. I can't recall a single piece of legislation passed in D.C. or in Jackson where both parties worked together that did not advance ultimately the liberal cause. Government grows, taxes go up, fees go up, title monies are stolen from the coast, whatever the case may be. Every time we reach across the aisle, conservative policies and principles lose. That's part of the problem. If you wake up in a country like we have today and barely recognize it, and we're alarmed at the direction this country's going, how did it get there? And the answer is too much surrender of our principles. There are some times you have to stand your ground and fight back, like a Trump, like a DeSantis. We don't have enough strong leaders in this state.
Yeah, well, let's go to the one issue you mentioned, Medicaid expansion. He did say on this show about a month ago that he does not support Medicaid expansion, but you're saying behind the scenes he might be trying to play it both ways.
Yes.
But a lot of folks are wondering, because I think Governor Bryan in 2011 turning down Medicaid expansion simply because it was part of Obamacare was very political. Some people say Mississippi more than any other state needs it. Why wouldn't Mississippi accept that federal money?
Several reasons. First of all, Medicaid is broken, and it has been broken for a long time. Doctors don't like accepting the payments. The Medicaid recipients have a hard time finding treatment, and their outcomes are generally worse in many instances than even the uninsured. So Medicaid as a whole is a broken and flawed system, but more importantly, it continues to eat more and more of the economy up in our state, our revenue, our budget. And that's the primary reason we can't afford to expand it until it's fully reformed. Here's why. The federal government says they'll match a large percentage of that money we spend at a 90-10 split. Any subsequent Congress could change that at any moment. And once you extend this program to hundreds of thousands of new people, many of which are already covered under their health care plans at work, once you do that, you could never rescind that. It would create a budget hole in our revenue system that we could never fill.
Well, it seems like Governor Reeves isn't going to let it happen.
Well, he's right at this. He's right about this.
I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get it 100%. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a statement from a senior advisor for Delbert Hosemann, and this was sent out an hour after you announced your intention. And he said, quote, "The least effective politician in the state with the largest ego."
Ouch. Ouch.
The largest ego is running.
You know what's funny, though? Why be mean-spirited? Think about that. Why come out of the gate being nasty? Why not talk about the issues? That's what I've talked about today. I'm talking about the things he's done as Lieutenant Governor, even as Secretary of State when he abused the coast. I've talked about the issues. Why get nasty? And he's already getting nasty, and it begs the question, he cannot and will not defend his record. He wants to put on a cute commercial on TV, and he wants you to close your eyes and believe that that Dorothy commercial can win the day for him. But once the people see that this guy has this kind of record, once they see that he votes with the Democrats, pushes their agendas, advances them in every position at the state Senate, once they understand that he even endorsed Ray Mabus over Kirk Fordyce back in the day, when they understand that he did not endorse Donald Trump, but he did endorse Mitt Romney, when they understand that when Donald Trump tried to clean up the election integrity system in this state, Delbert Hosemann told Donald Trump to go jump in the Gulf of Mexico. That's the reality. It has nothing to do with ego.
Well, you know, a Pine Belt guy.
Yeah.
Could probably do well Laurel down.
Yeah.
Jackson is and we're talking statewide election, obviously. Jackson, the Tupelo area, I'm not sure how you're going to fare up there. The Delta, probably not particularly well. You've tried these statewide runs.
Yeah.
Did take Thad Cochran in 2014 to a runoff, but then were unsuccessful again against Cindy Hyde-Smith.
Right.
So how do you win a statewide race?
By being the same principled conservative I've always been. At some point, the people of this state are going to recognize dirty politics is not acceptable. They're going to recognize that all the slick ads and all the finger pointing and all the name calling, like he just did here, that's not appropriate. And then they'll start listening to the issues. And maybe, just maybe, they'll understand that in all the times I fought for the conservative movement and all the times that I fought for them, maybe I was right. Maybe I was right about taxes being too high. Maybe I was right about the federal government getting too big. Maybe I was right about our rights and privileges disappearing daily because we're not fighting back. Maybe they'll see that DeSantis is right, that Trump was right, because that's what I've tried to be. And I believe they will.
Okay, well, one thing that's kind of hard is Lieutenant Governor Hosemann has $4 billion in federal aid, which gives him some wind at his back. He's handing out things to counties and cities like Halloween candy. So it's kind of hard to beat that in this particular climate.
So he's taken my tax dollars and he's using them to purchase votes, just like he took the Coast Highlands money and used it to purchase votes up north. Look, he's abused the coast his entire time in office. Whether it's the Tidelands, whether it's 16th section land, he has not been good to the coast. And if you ask people down here, they'll tell you he's an obstructionist and he's been bad for South Mississippi. When I'm elected, we're going to take care of the Gulf Coast. You're going to keep your Tidelands money. The coast is going to be allowed to be the coast again because it is the greatest economic engine we've got. It's all we have to offer to drive this state into another level. But you got to fuel the coast.
Okay, I have about 20 seconds left. Well, you're kind of attacking Lieutenant Governor Hosemann when you said he was being kind of
well, he attacked my ego. I'm attacking his policies.
Okay.
There's a big difference there.
You know, very quickly, we have this an open primary, essentially.
Yeah.
You might see a lot of, there's no Democratic challenger here, so you might see a strategy by Democrats to cross over in this Republican primary just to keep you out.
Exactly. Who do you suppose the Democrats will support in this race? Who do you suppose they would support?
Delbert Hosemann,
of course they'll support Delbert Hosemann because he has more in common with them than I do. So the idea is for Republicans to recognize that and turn out in greater numbers and offset the Democrats. The Democrats are going to try to save Delbert Hosemann. He's already working on them. Our job is to make sure that doesn't happen.
All righty, well, the primary coming up August 8th, and we'll have much more between now and then here on WLOX. State Senator Chris McDaniel, good to have you here in the studio, and thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, sir.